Hello guys and welcome to a new lesson. In this lesson I'm going to be sharing with you some information on how to structure your CV when you're applying for a Linux job to increase the chances and the possibility of your CV getting considered and for you to get a response. Getting to write a proper CV is the first step to marketing yourself and convincing the company that you are the right candidate for the job. Keep in mind that you can pick any design you need for the CV. This is just how to structure your CV and the important parts. It's the best practice for making the CV. So first of all, I'll tell you a bit about how usually the HR of a company views a CV. When a company wants to hire someone for a role, let's say for example they need a Linux system admin, the HR might not necessarily know the exact roles of a Linux admin. So he will be looking throughout the CVs by using the keywords that the company provided him. So when the HR receives hundreds or maybe thousands of CVs, he looks at each CV for just around 5 seconds. He scans through it. While he is scanning, if he saw what's written in the CV is matching the role required, then he'll continue reading the CV, or at least he will shortlist it to look into it later on. In some companies, there is an AI software system that reviews the received CVs first. The AI software scans the CV and then scores it based on how matching the CV is to the job description. So, your primary target from applying the CV is marketing yourself. You want to get an interview, and that's your main purpose of the CV. So, the first step is any weakness you have, don't put it at the top of the CV. For example, if you have spent more years than usual in college or school, or you passed college or school and your grades are not that well, then there's no need to put such information at the top of the CV. On the other hand, if you have any achievements or certificates related to the job that are important to the role and you want to display them, then you can put it at the top. For example, instead of the links section over here, you can switch it with the certifications and put it on top if you feel that there are certain certifications here that are very strong for the role that you're applying for. Alright, now the second step is no need to put your photo. In the IT field, it's not necessary to put the photo of you, and that's because it's not a frontline or a customer related job. And also because keeping a photo of you might give the viewer a first impression based on his personal views. Alright, so that's the template that I recommend for you. First of all, here you can start with the links area. So if you have a GitHub, you have a LinkedIn, a website, or a blog, you can start by keeping the links over here. And then we'll move on to the professional summary area. The professional summary should be no longer than 3 lines and try to be flexible. An example of flexible is, let's say the job role that you're applying for requires a slightly different role. Change it in the summary to be fitting the role that you're applying for. So you'll modify the words in the summary based upon the role that you're applying for. But keep in mind, you must always be aware of what you are writing because the interviewer, the HR, will only ask you from what's written in your CV. And then we'll move over here to the skills section. The skills section will contain the keywords that the HR will look at in his scan. If the company is using an AI to scan for keywords, that's the part that you want it to catch. So it's one of the most important parts. So when there is a job post, and in that post you can see that the job description requires, for example, Linux, Apache HTTP, Ansible, and so on. Those requirements that are in the job post will be your keywords. So when you look at the job post, you will see certain requirements for the role. Those requirements that are in the job post will be your keywords that you will put in your CV under the skills section. And again, keep in mind that those skills that you will keep over here, you need to be aware of them so that when the HR or the interviewer asks you about them, because he will only ask from the CV that he has in front of him, so you need to be able to answer in those topics. And the maximum you want to go for in your skills section are just 10 set of skills. It's recommended from 6 to 8, but maximum 10 will be good. And if there is one of those skills that you are not really familiar with and it's required in the job post, just put it in your CV in the skills section anyway and try to learn about it until you get a response from the company you applied for. Alright, now we will move on to the work history part. In here, you will type in your work history. If you don't have work history and you got perhaps a graduation project or received training or something, you can type it in here. But if you have a work history, then type the work history that you have, the company, the area from which year to which year. And in the points, the description, just mention a maximum of also 6 to 7 job duties or descriptions, and that will be very fine. And then the last part over here will be the education and the certification section. So the education, you don't need to put the year, but you can if you want to. And then you have here the certifications and the training that you have. For example, if you have any certificates, any like training courses or something, you can keep them over here as well. I will also keep this template for you in the resources in case you need to use it. It's recommended that you keep the CV like 1 or 2 pages maximum, not more than that. So, like I said, because the HR, he doesn't take much time reading all of it. So if you just focus on the important parts that I told you, and this is like the best practice for making a structure for your CV, and that's pretty much it. This way will enhance the probability of you getting noticed and getting an interview. I'll keep this template in the resources in case you would like to use it, and I hope and wish the best luck to you. Thank you very much for watching.